All right. All right. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 Tier. Oh, are we ready?
We're good. Now we're ready. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. I would like to call this meeting to order, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. All individuals entering City Hall operated facilities, including City Hall, are required to wear a non-medical face mask. Those at the table, whatever. As directed by Manitoba Health, we're requesting people avoid close contact within 2 meters with anyone showing symptoms of a respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, we are requesting that you excuse yourself from the room. Please note when you join the meeting, are there more than, Michelle?
Sorry?
Are there multiple applicants via Zoom or no?
No, just the one applicant.
Okay, so I can skip that part. Okay. My name is Marla Billinghurst. I will be chairing the meeting this morning. With me on the panel this morning are Mr. Robert Buss and Mr. Ron Merritt. The secretary this morning is Ms. Michelle Neepin. And the assessors this morning are Mr. Ken Wong and Ms. Brittany Santucci. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to those matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony, followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record, and use of cell phones is not permitted except by approval of the chair, so please turn your cell phone off. Could you please swear in the parties?
Who will start with? Kim, we could start with you. Can you state your full name, please? Oh.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Ken Wong.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Brittany, sorry. Can you state your full name, please?
Brittany Santucci.
You affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And Mr. Navarro?
Marcelo Navarro.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The first matter we will be hearing today is 669 Broadway. So I don't know which assessor will be handling that.
That'd be me.
Okay, so Mr. Wong, please proceed when you're ready.
I guess what's in appeal is the business assessment for 669 Broadway for Thompson Funeral Chapel. Looking at the applicant's information, it appears that we are in agreement with the annual rental value of $147,360, and so I ask that the annual rental value be revised to $147,360.
Okay.
You know what? I guess the roll year will be 2021. The address is 669 Broadway. The business ID is 18286. The business name is Thompson Funeral Chapel, and the owners are Alderwoods Groups Canada Inc. And I guess that would be maybe the formality part that I should have gone through initially.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Okay. Mr. Navarro, do you have any, are you in agreement with this?
We're in agreement with this.
Okay. Mr. Buss, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Merritt?
Is that a verbal recommendation?
It's in my information at the bottom.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and I have no questions. Okay, so thank you very much. Just please give me 1 minute. Okay, we can move on to the next matter. Thank you. It is 1032 Marion Street.
Okay, I guess I think that's it for me. So thank you very much.
Thank you and good morning.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
Hi, Kim.
Bye.
Okay, so that would be 1032 Marion Street, which is listed as number 3 on the docket this morning. Assessor's brief. Okay, so Ms. Santucci, please proceed when you are ready.
Thank you. This is file number 20-841, roll year 2021, address 1032 Marion Street, business assessment ID 3042. So this is a gas station. It's the Domo. It is has a premise area of 278 square feet. We have a base annual rental value of $53,062 and a base annual rental value per square foot of $190.87. And we've applied occupancy costs. So if you turn to my page 2, I just have included the board order. So this was heard for 2020, and it was reduced on page 3. Just to let you know, the reason I'm defending it today is just because the city appealed this to municipal board. So on my page 4, I have the brief that was submitted by one of my coworkers. On page 4, I have some subject property, or 5 subject property pictures. So this is the Domo gas station. It has quite a large land area. It's a smaller gas station. On my page 6, I have some Google Street Views. So just to show that there was a small addition, and that's why there had been an increase in premise area at the original realty hearing. And on page 5, I have my rent comparables.
Sorry. Can I stop you for 1 second? Right. I cannot open any pages except page 1. So sorry, it's just can you just bear with me?
No worries.
And I'm trying to now shut everything down and restart. Okay.
Are you guys able to open the documents? Yeah.
Okay, I got it open in Adobe, just very, very tiny. Okay, sorry, continue. Okay.
Sorry. So that was my page 7 of the original brief, had the rent comparables. So we can disregard the land sales. That was just for the realty aspect of it. But for the property we're looking at today, this is a smaller gas station. So some of our rent comparables that are more comparable to the subject is comparable 4, has a smaller area. That one comes in at $160.71 per square foot. Another one we have here would be comparable 9, which is 364 square feet. That one comes in at $151. Comparable 10 is also smaller, 432 square feet, and that one comes in at $150.27. Comparable 11 is about double the size, but still a higher rent per square foot of $137.06. So based on ours being $278, I thought it was comparable at the $190.87 we used. And I think the rest of my brief has to do with I do provide the income and expense questionnaire that was submitted on page 9. Just want to point out though that there is some common ownership on page 13. So Royal Canadian Properties has similar director information, which is listed on page 14 and 15 as the Domo Gasoline Corporation, which is on the following pages. Other than that, I also included the applicant's brief, and that would be on page 19, and it just shows what the board had changed the value to. They had reduced it from the $53,062 for the annual rental value, or for the base annual rental value, to $27,500, and then we appealed that further. So my recommendation today is to maintain our original value, so the 2021 annual rental value of $53,760. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Navarro, do you have any questions?
Yes, the adjustments that were made to the rent, was that based on strictly modeled rents or rents available from the city?
So the rent we applied was the modeled rent.
Okay. And can you tell me if the rent itself included things like value for pumps, tanks, canopies, plus additional land value?
No, so the additional land value would have been added separately at the realty level, and then the additional value would also be added separately.
Okay. Now, just to go back, can you tell me exactly how large the new addition was?
Let me see if I have the exact number here. Applicants Brief. I don't have the exact number, but I want to say it was about 80 square feet-ish. It was just the front entrance.
Okay. Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Buss, any questions?
No questions at this time.
Mr. Merritt?
I have none, thank you.
I have no questions either. So, Mr. Navarro, please proceed with your presentation.
Okay. You can see on page 2 that this is my summary and the picture of the Domo location that we're looking at. On page 3, there is an overhead picture of it. And further to that, there is also additional pictures that were taken by one of our agents. And that includes the interior of the property. On page 8, we have the relevant legislation or applicable legislation. I won't go into that. Page 9 is the premise description. So I'll just get into that. So this property was built in 3 stages. The original portion was built in 1983. That was 42 square feet. Second portion in 2005 at 96 square feet. And finally, the 2012 portion with an area of 140 square feet. So the total square footage of the property was roughly 278 square feet for 2021. So as mentioned here, the gas bar is very small by today's standards and only has 4 single pumps at this location. And this has not changed since 2012. So that reflects a lower volume in terms of what this gas station can put out. The site is 39,961 square feet, and it is zoned M3. In terms of the market rent, the original market rent was $25,305. And as shown there, the net market rent, again, $25,305. That's reflective of 4 pumps and smaller gas sale volumes. If you look at the sales the lease comparisons that we have, you can turn to page 15. So we have 4 lease comparisons. And you can see pictures of those following that chart. So that's index 1 through 4. That is pages 16 through 17. So based on the rent indicators that we've looked at, we feel that no more than $27,500 should be the rent. Occupancy costs are listed on page 18, and also our calculation of the annual rental value. Our annual rental value calculation is $28,140. That is what we asked for at this hearing. And that is also consistent with the Board of Revision's decision on the realty. I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Santucci. Any questions?
I only had one question. It was just to do with the comparables. Do you know how large the gas kiosks are on page 15 for each comparable?
I don't.
Most similar?
Yeah, I don't. But if you look at Index 1, for example, the Domo there, in terms of the kiosk, I mean, the Domo kiosks tend to be similar in size. I don't know the exact size of this one, but this is a 2 single pump, so 2 car capacity on Index 1. Tempo is a small kiosk, but it also has a car wash in the back. I've been in this property many times. It's 4 pumps, so it is actually similar in terms of its, in terms of the gas volume that it would sell. Going back to Index 2, when I mean small, it is very small. There's only there's a cash register there. There is a drink machine in there, or a cooler, and some space there for chips, candies, confectionery, and some small section for things like oil and stuff like that are sold. So it's a very small area, but it has a similar capacity in terms of its gas volume. So it's 4 car capacity, just like the subject. Number 3 is Leela. Oddly enough, I used to work at this location when I was a kid. So it's been there for a very long time. 4 single pumps, 4 car capacity. It's very similar in size and make up to the other ones. Again, they're all kind of similar in terms of their design and size. And again, this is Domo Lila for, is that the same one? This one is not Domo Lila. It says index 4 Domo Lila, but this is somewhere else. I'm just going to check the chart just to see where it is. Henderson Highway, yeah. So index 4 is actually on Henderson Highway.
Oh.
And again, they're all kind of, the Domo stations are all very similar. So they're either two car capacity or 4 car capacity. There are some that have 6 car capacity, but not much larger than that.
And then for comparable number 3, I did look up the mailer for this one. So they do list it as, would you agree? They list it as 200 square feet for the Lila, and then they actually list 130 per square foot for the rental rate applied to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's all my questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Buss.
No questions at this time.
Mr. Merritt.
Just one question, Mr. Navarro. Do you know what the threshold is?
The threshold for the
For the evaluation for the city, where there's no.
I believe it's 44,200.
44?
Yeah, 44,200. Yeah.
Okay, I thank you.
Thank you very much, and I have no questions. All right, as we can, I guess I should ask, did anyone, is there a need for summary on this matter from either party?
No.
Okay. We can move on to the next matter, which is 55 Fultz Boulevard. Ms. Santucci, please proceed when you are ready.
This is file number 20-862, roll year 2021, address 55 Fultz Boulevard, and business assessment ID 41218. So this is a vehicle dealership. I think it's the Subaru. We have a premise area of 56,162 square feet. We have a base annual rental value per square foot of $13.33. So this one was a new construction. It was built in, I think when one of my colleagues went there, it was October 2019 when it was added. There was no realty appeal, so I haven't submitted anything in regards to that. On page 1, I just have the photo at the bottom, the aerial photo. If you go to my page 2, I have some inspection photos from my colleague, just to show a couple exterior and interior photos of the vehicle dealership. So as you can see on my page 2, there's some interior of the showroom and the exterior. On page 3, again, top ones are of the showroom. Bottom ones would be, I guess, where the cars are either serviced or brought in. And then page 4, again, where they can work on cars. On page 5, I just used our typical rent comparables. Again, everybody's heard we use the comparables of a big box store. Average is $18.86. Again, we don't have many rents for vehicle dealerships. They're normally owner occupied. So based on this information, my recommendation today is to maintain the 2021 annual rental value of the $886,260. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Navarro, do you have any questions?
Yes. In going through your brief and especially the rental rates that you have on, I believe it's page 5 of your brief. So you've listed quite a few retail rates, and these are all tend to be big box stores. Would that be applicable in this situation?
I guess it's our most similar option for comparables, thinking of like a showroom up front, space in the rear for, more of a warehouse. That's just what we've been using from the last cycle. So I've just included the same ones.
Okay. That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buss.
Are any of them of the 27? Are any of them a dealership?
No, unfortunately, we don't have any. I can't think of one dealership that has a lease in place, unfortunately. That's not owner occupied or common ownership.
Thank you. That's my question.
Thank you, Mr. Merritt.
I have none, thank you.
Thank you. Nor do I. Mr. Navarro, please give your presentation.
Okay. Again, this is 55 Fultz. You can see our summary on page 1. And you can also see the overhead. This overhead was probably taken sometime in 2018 prior to the building even being constructed. So that's why you only see a bare land parcel there. Applicable legislation on page 2. Premise description, again, 56,162 square feet, 8.7 acres, and zoned M2 industrial. So our market rents are derived from mainly industrial spaces and VSG, which is vehicle service garages. So we use a mixture of both, recognizing that this is a large building. So with any large building, again, the economies of scale come in and the price per square foot tends to fall. So we've got some comparables here. They have an average of 741, 775. Again, there is very little information in terms of what we can use to compare to these types of properties because most of them have common ownership or are owner occupied. So there really aren't any arm's length leases that you can derive a meaningful rent from. So we choose to go with what is actually allowed and usable in terms of this space. So the reason that we fixated on industrial spaces is because, again, the M zoning, the M2 zoning only allows for industrial uses. So we, again, those are our comparables there. We have some VSG comparables there. The rent that we are saying is $11.75 per square foot. Our occupancy costs are listed there, and our annual rental value calculation is also there. Our rounded value for our ARV is $797,460. The current ARV is $886,260. That is what we're asking for. In the appendix, you can see the zoning information. If you turn to page, just give me a minute here and I will locate the page that you need to be on. So it is page 72. So if you find page 72 at the very top, you look at the M2 zoning, retail sales, again, not permitted. So again, that is our reasoning for not including retail sales at this location because, again, retail sales are derived from retail and it's not allowed in this. So most of our properties that we looked at are industrial properties that have office space in it also. You can see the properties in the first chart. 1301 Kenniston is very comparable to our property. It is a very large building, newer, with, again, lots of office area. So in terms of comparability, it is an industrial building, but it, in my opinion, it is comparable. That is my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm open for that.
Thank you very much. Ms. Santucci, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bust, do you have any questions?
Would you agree with me that this car dealership is a better quality building than an industrial building or vehicle service garage?
Well, I would say that you would have to look at the properties that we've looked at here. So the reason that I pointed out 1301 Kenniston, if you have a look at this property, it is a very similar type of building, very modern warehouse space that has been utilized as office space. So, so in that sense, I think it's very comparable. Again, these types. Sorry,
which one are you speaking of?
1301 Kenniston.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
So we have a warehouse space, and the dealership, make no mistake, it is a warehouse space. It's just been retrofitted to fit in a dealership. But I mean, when you look at the walls and everything in there, it can be changed into whatever. It can be changed into office area. It can be changed into warehousing area. So in that sense, I think it's very comparable. Again, industrial spaces that we're looking at here also would contain those types of features, as would the retail areas that Ms. Santucci has also presented. It's just that we're not taking from retail sales simply because retail is not allowed in this area. So we have to have something comparative that is usable in this location.
But they do have retail sales there. They're selling automobiles.
No, auto dealership is a specific use, actually, Mr. Bust. Retail sales are big box stores like your Canadian Tires, your Home Depots, those types of properties. And they also have a price tag because of the sign that's in front of their stores.
Okay. How about the age? This is a new building, and I see on your chart, especially the lower chart, all of the buildings are from the 70s, 80s.
Yeah, and again, I'll go back to 1301 Kenniston. So that is a 2007.
Yes.
It's 38,000. It's at $9.95 per square foot, and it may have had a step up. I'm not too sure about that. However, I've adjusted our rent upwards to nearly $12. It's at $11.75, but again, nearly $12. So that's how I've adjusted that. And again, I've looked at some of the vehicle service garages. Yes, there's nothing comparable to these. The auto malls, there is no comparable information. As we both stated, there are no arm's length leases for this type of space. So we try and draw a comparison to what it can hold in terms of its zoning. And then we would look at, industrial buildings that fit or have that are comparable to our property. And yes, there are some properties there that are older, but if you look at the effective ages on them, they're from the late 90s and early 2000s, or 2008, 2007, 2009. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
There's a bit of a difference, but not substantial, I would say.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That's all.
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Merritt, any questions?
Just one question, I guess, Mr. Navarro. I think you settled on $11.75 a square foot.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the second analysis, I guess, on page 3, and as Mr. Buss had mentioned, there's no real newer building types that you can compare or extract a square foot rate, eh?
No. Let me just make the point that the vehicle, the auto dealership is split up into certain sections. Okay, we've all been in these places. There is the retail sales area, the office areas, the storage areas or warehousing areas they have for their parts department. And then there is the auto service and auto body areas. So if we're taking a footprint of, say, 40% of the building is auto body, auto service area, and the remainder is retail sales, office, and warehousing, then you're only drawing a certain portion for the auto body, auto repair area, and then another amount for the sales, office, and warehousing areas. So in essence, it's a blended rent. So you're blending in those areas of, auto body repair and the other areas that are within that dealership. So there's not one straight rent, although in the open market, that's probably what would happen. We've settled on a rent of $11.75, but we've also taken into account that there is a difference in the type of spaces that are in here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I have no questions.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can move on to the, is there a need for summary from either party?
No.
Okay. We can move on to the next property, 329 Hargrave Street.
Okay.
So, Ms. Santucci, please proceed when you are ready.
This is file number 20-848, roll year 2021. Address is 329 Hargrave Street, and the business assessment ID is 51247. So this is the parkade. There was originally the 406 stalls that were accounted for by Impark. Upon further review in 2021 Realty, we had adjusted this based on some of the stalls being allocated to Glass House, the condominium. So today here I have applied a stall count of 336 stalls to the Impark, and we will still use the same monthly net rent as the $103.50 to come up with an annual rental value of $417,300. So just to point to page 2 and 3, I have my comparables that we've pretty much used the entire 2020 cycle for parkades. And my recommendation today is to reduce the 2021 annual rental value from the $504,240 to the $417,300. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Navarro, are you accepting the recommendation?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Boss, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Merritt, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, and I have no questions. Just let me make a note, please. Oh, sorry. So you said the stall count was reduced from 406 stalls to 336 stalls?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to clarify that.
17,300.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and the next matter is 420 Colony Street.
Okay.
So please proceed when you are ready.
Thank you. This is file number 20-846, roll year 2021. Address is 420 Colony Street, and the business assessment ID is 37075. So this is a surface parking lot occupied by Imperial Parking Limited. We have a stall count of 57, a monthly net unit rent per stall of $65, and we have the annual net rental value of $44,000 $460. So on my page 2, we haven't. I just showed the request for income and expense information. It goes to page 5, 6, 7. Nothing was provided for realty, so all of our information is based on the model. I would assume everything that we had was correct here. On page 8, I have surface parking rents close to the subject. So they range from $40.19 all the way up to $131.91. I think the first few would be closer to the subject, as well as, let me go through these. And there'd be comparables 5 and 6 as well. So going from page 9 all the way to 20, I just have the actual screenshots of all the rents without any expenses taken off, just for further information. And just like to point out that there is no monthly parking on this lot. I was told by a colleague they have hourly and daily and evenings and weekends. And my recommendation today is to maintain the 2021 annual rental value of the $44,460. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Navarro. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Buss?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Merritt?
No, thank you.
Okay, nor do I. So, Mr. Navarro, please move on to your presentation, please.
Okay, this is 420 Colony Street. Again, you can see our summary on page 2 and a picture of the property. This is, I guess, located across from the University of Winnipeg. You can see an overhead picture on page 3, applicable legislation on page 3 and 4. The property description starts on page 4. Again, this is on Colony and Balmoral Street. This is 22,281 square feet, has M zoning. That's multiple use, not industrial. There are, as stated by the City of Winnipeg, 57 stalls there. However, after count conducted on January 25th, 2020, there are 55 stalls available for lease or rental. So this is the, on page 6, you can see the actual parking plan for this property. In 1, 2, 3, garbage bin, 355. There used to be 57 stalls there, but they are, there is currently a garbage bin taking up 2 stalls there. I'll also note that these lines here, these 1, 2, 3, and what used to be 4 and 5 are not actually marked stalls. So there have been cars that have parked there, but not officially stalls. It's just that they've parked there. Whereas 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, and 55 have always been there, and they are properly marked. Now there are 2, there's also another point to make in that not all the stalls are electrified. So the areas in blue are the stalls that are electrified. And obviously, as you can see, stalls 48 through 55 are not electrified. Stalls 1 through 3 are not electrified, and stalls 1 through 3 are actually not even marked. As mentioned, there used to be capacity to have 5 cars here, but there is a garbage bin there, as indicated to me by Impark. The garbage bin was placed there because it was the best location for it to get a truck in there safely. So our only discrepancy is with the actual count of the parking stalls, not with the rates or anything else that the city has applied. So we have used the $55 times 65 times 12. That's $42,900. And our ARV calculation is on page 7. That is 42,900 rounded. I'll also note that when I spoke to MPark about the garbage bin and how long it had been there, they indicated to me that the garbage bin had been there for more than a year. So in our opinion, that has changed the stall count. There was previously 57 stalls there, but now MPark only has the use of 55 stalls now. And on page, in the appendix, the first pages that you'll see are, there's the bin, there's 2 vehicles there. The one on the right, the black one, is mine. So these are 2 SUVs here, so they take up a little bit more space. So if there was 3 smaller, you could probably fit 3 smaller cars here. As mentioned, these areas are actually not marked off. They allow parking there, but not officially stalls. But so we accounted for 3 stalls here, and a total of 55. So that's my presentation.
Thank you very much. Ms. Santucci, do you have any questions?
Just that, so you would say that it had probably just changed recently, like either late 2020 or like all of 2020, or yeah, I guess like all majority of 2020 and then now 2021 potentially? Yeah. So the when I spoke to MPark, they indicated that the garbage bin had been there for more than a year. So more than a year probably says that it may have even come in prior to 2020. Okay. Just because I think our last data was about 2019 that showed the 57. So I was just trying to get an idea of when it actually, and I haven't inspected it. So I trust what you said if you've been there recently. Thank you.
And that would be the reason why I took pictures of the bin and its location too. So
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Buss, any questions?
How come there's a bin there? They don't, is it just for collecting garbage off the parking lot, or is it for use in another area?
Yeah, I think it's for use in another area. There's also a building that's attached to this roll number, which isn't included as part of the parking. So it's not included in the business assessment for the parking. So I assume that's where it comes from. It's also used as a maintenance yard for MPark. So I assume that when they do cleaning of their facilities throughout the city, there is one location where they put garbage and stuff like that. So.
Okay, thank you. Could I ask the assessor a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Is that legitimate to, you agree with that? Take out a couple of parking spaces and?
So, I don't know if I'd put a permanent adjustment on it, for it being there, but I do agree that there is, like the bin, if he saw it and the bin is there is no space to park there. So currently you can't park in 2 stalls. I just don't know if going forward at the next, like I'd put a note on it to double check, but just to make sure that next reassessment comes around if the bin's gone. So.
I see. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Merritt, any questions?
I just have an observation, I guess. Neither party wants to move for $1,500. This is what we're talking about, I guess, and also it's pretty close to the threshold.
Actually, Mr. Merritt, we're talking about $260. That's the difference.
Okay.
So even if you take out 1 parking stall, we'd be under the threshold.
Okay, I thank you.
And I have no questions, so thank you very much. And is there a need for summary on this?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And I will now close this hearing. Thank you. And good morning.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.